The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Yes, unlike Liverpool with the second bid for Isak, we are back. Welcome to Hey Ho, Let's Go on the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. Technical issues aside, it's all going to go absolutely smashing. So despite the rejections and the random ITKs on the internet, players getting left behind in pre-season and general pre-season results, I'm actually looking forward to the games. So as you can see, I am joined this morning for Hey Ho, Let's Go by Joe and Ian. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
All right, Rod.
Hi, we're doing well. And let's try and forget about that Swedish individual and let's just think about those black and white representing us on the pitch and in the stands of Villa Park today. So, boys, it's been an interesting transfer window. Thank you for staying around. Joe, one preview is just not enough. That's for amateurs. So thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing this morning? This afternoon.
Great. Yeah, no, really good, mate. Thanks for having us. It's like I said on the preview, football's back. We're coming into this off the back of a bit of a turbulent window, but we've had a bit of positive news recently. We're getting some signings through the door. Yeah, they might not feature. I think Chow's on the bench. We'll talk about the squad, but overall, it's looking like things are looking up. It's going to be a tough game, especially without he who shall not be named up front. However, we've got a really good squad, and I think we're going to give it a good go. And those who did watch the preview, yeah, I did predict us to lose. Sorry about that. I still think it's going to be tough, but you never know. So looking forward to it, man. Football's back. That's all you can ask for.
And Ian, great to see you as well. Nice to see. Is that clock working yet?
It is. This is what the membership fees go to, is putting batteries in my clock. It's only took 3 years, but I've seen the benefit of it.
And how's your summer been so far? Uneventful, or has it been jam-packed?
Pretty mundane, other than the transfer window. I think I was ahead of the curve of everyone's emotions. So 2 weeks before all this Isak malarkey kicked off, I was very highly emotional, and then I've kind of just rid the wave and let other people catch up. So It is what it is. Like Joe said, this week's been a little bit more of an uplift. I watched Eddie Howe's press conference this morning as well, and I was going into the game, I was quite pessimistic, shock. But after watching that, it's put some fire in my belly. So
yeah, I think riding the wave, Ian, is a very, very appropriate phrase for this situation that we're in. You just got to ride the storm, ride the wave, and see where we end up at the end of it. So thank you two for joining us, and of course, thank you those people who've joined us live on the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. We've got L Stapleton, Blue Rhythm Boy. What could possibly go wrong with Gordon up top? So he's teed us up beautifully. So let's have a little look now. This is my first time hosting for a little while using technical carry-on. So I do apologize if there's any missteps. So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to go like this. Let's have a look. Right. Okay, so here is the lineup, gentlemen, for our first game of the season. I have to say, Joe, no surprises there. Obviously, Sharon and Burns starting. I don't suppose we would have seen Chow at this point. But the front three, Joe, what do you think?
I mean, overall, the three individuals are class in their own right. Between Barnes and Gordon, we had a lot of goals last season. But naturally, as we all know, Gordon's best position is off the left. I've never fancied him as a number 9. I know that with the current situation, our options are pretty limited. But like, yeah, I think what we're going to need to see is the likes of Alanga, Barnes, and probably either Joe Linton or Tonali coming in from midfield to help support in the box. Gordon's not going to really be able to do loads up top by himself. He's going to have to come quite deep, obviously playing as a bit of a false nine. So yeah, we need that support in the box. We're going to need to see something different last season when Gordon was up top. But overall, I mean, the squad is good. Yeah, the squad is really good. I'm excited to see Alanga. He's looked absolutely rapid in pre-season.
Yeah.
And with a full pre-season behind Tonali's belt as well, you know, going straight into the first game of the season, that's exciting to see him. I mean, it didn't take much for him to get back up to speed when he came in. What was it, like September, I think? Like he missed it, or end of August. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Pope number one, literally number one as well. Not surprised to see that. I think there was a little bit of discourse around whether Ramsdale might get the nod, but no, Pope was always going to start. I reckon Ramsdale, depending on what happens, might feature, more later into the season. But that's literally what I expected. I think that's what most people expected. Yeah, I'm just interested to see how Cher and Burn do, because they've been a bit mixed in pre-season. I'll say that. But, looking good. Looking good.
And Ian, just sort of leaning into Scott's comment there. He's managed to find his laptop in his packed up house. Ian, so, obviously we don't have a focal point, but is maybe Villa a way where we might not expect to be in a lot of possession of the ball? Having those three, rapid players up top, is that going to maybe benefit us, do you think?
I would say so, yeah. I think our best option is using the pace that we've got, and to touch on Scott's point there, I agree with him. I think they'll start off with Gordon through the middle. There could be a fair bit of rotation between those front three. Looking how Villa tend to play, and I think it was a couple of seasons ago when we were beaten 5-1 first game of the season. They play quite a high line. I know they get the full back sort of bombing on, that do like to control possession. So I think the game will be, if we were to put in a winning performance, I think the game will hinge on sort of the transition. So trying to sort of utilise Barnes' pace, Gordon's pace, and then Alanga is, like Joe said, just absolutely electric. So just trying to figure out who they've got. Digne at left back. So I'm not too sure if he's blessed with pace. To be fair, you'd have to be Usain Bolt to try and keep up with Alanga anyway. So I think that's probably our best bet in trying to get a good result. What concerns me is how slow our back line is. So I think last season, Watkins was sort of just pulling into that role that Isak likes to play, sort of inside left, and he just had Cher on toast when we got beat down there I think it was 4-1. So that does concern me. And there was a couple of times through pre-season as well in the friendlies where it was just sort of one ball over the top, and it was panic station. So it'll be, to be fair, they're always good games against Villa. Whether that's we come out with a win or we get defeated, for the neutral, they're always good games to watch. So be interesting to see how this one goes, because without being cliche, first game of the season, anything can happen. So
hopefully. Now, obviously, we know you had some predictions there earlier on. So, Joe, your predictions still stay the same? Are you still looking at a 2-0 defeat, you think, or have you been filled with a little bit more?
You're always more optimistic now. Yeah,
this morning.
You're always more optimistic leading up to the actual kickoff, aren't you? Yeah. I'd like to see. I think it's definitely possible that we will get a result. It's just I've not seen enough during pre-season up top to have me totally convinced. But I mean, give me 20 minutes into the first half, and if we start brightly, then I think we absolutely can do it. It's just basically the history that we've had with Gordon as a false nine. Now we've got Alanga, which obviously gives a different dimension to how we play. So we could we could end up playing to Gordon's strengths a lot more, and he could end up, like I said before, facilitating his false nine and bring other people into play. That's what I'm probably expecting to happen. He's not going to be a target man where we're just going to get loads of crosses into the box. We're going to see Barnes and Alanga cutting in a lot more, trying to. I can imagine Tonali's going to have a lot of luck with those late runs, like almost like a Frank Lampard late run into the box. They're going to try and cut in. Gordon's probably going to try and draw a defender, get a bit of space around the 18-yard box. I could see us scoring through something like that. I would like to see us be a bit more prolific with corners, though. We've had some luck, most notably in the cup final last season. Any excuse to get that in, but we've got some really big lads in there, and it'd be good to see us have a bit more of an aerial presence. Joe Linton, Dan Burn, and Chow when he does come in. But yeah, I think we've had not a lot of luck down Villa Park. Like we normally, like I said on the preview, we normally batter them at our place, they batter us at their place. It's like this little agreement that we've got going on. But a positive result at the start of the season always gonna go through, especially with the preseason that we had. Normally, we actually do really good under Howe under preseason. This is a bit of an anomaly. It's a bit strange. So. Yeah, would like, especially with everything going on around Isak and that, it would just be nice to have a positive result, get everyone bouncing, going back to St James's Park for next Monday against Liverpool, and we'll see what happens. But like I say, first 20 minutes, if we start brightly, we can get at them. They're there to be got. Like they're a good team, but they're not brilliant.
Yeah, I do feel, Ian, that like Joe says, with that front three, although we don't have a focal point, but probably. The two Villa defenders, Konsa and who's at the back?
Mings.
Yeah, Konsa and Mings, like they would want a focal point, I would imagine. Like in my very limited career, I've had to, play in centre back, and like it's a lot easier when you know kind of who you're going to focus on. And do you think that it's going to be just Gordon up there, or do you think we might see that rotation in that front line that's going to cause them a little bit of problems, like you're saying, like Joe was saying about Digne is not the, he's not the youngest. He's got, his legs, Matty Cash, is fairly quick, but, how do you think that's going to play out? What do you think that's going to look like for us today?
Yeah, I think Gordon will start off through the middle. I think it might be quite similar to what we're seeing with Spurs in pre-season, where he started through the middle, but it was almost just sort of like a free drift and roll across the front three. And for all I agree with Joe, people are saying, "Oh, he can play a false nine. He did it in the Euros." Like he could for one or two games. I don't think that's the way to go. But I did think his movement against Spurs, he did create them a bit of bother. I think it'll be more like sort of rotation. Give him the free roll. I think that probably benefits us as well, with him not being, like you say, that focal point where you can hold the ball up, because Mings and Konsa are big lads, big physical lads. They probably would be sort of licking the hands. You don't lick your hands, licking your lips. I mean, you might lick your hands.
You know what I mean?
You might, yeah.
They might be licking their hands to see a big physical presence, because it come across, particularly Mings comes across as the guy that likes to have a physical battle. I don't think you'll get that with Gordon. I think we'll try and get Gordon in behind them and getting their centre backs turned around. So I think, like I said just before, it's a case of trying to play to his strengths. Obviously, the shadow that Isak's sort of cast over with not having that out-and-out striker, put him aside. We've still got a really, really good starting 11. They were there on merit in terms of finishing in Champions League spots last year. And then the additions that we've brought in, like Alanga, quite excited to see Malik Chow, and then hopefully Jacob Ramsey as well when he gets confirmed. Just touching on the point that's on screen there as well, really pleased to see, is it Sung Soo Park or Sung
Soo Park? He looked rapid, didn't he? In that friendly that we had.
He looked, like I say, you can tell this is a massive step up from, I think he came from like maybe the K-League 2, maybe K-League. It's a massive step up, but he looked very, very bright. There's obviously a lot of confidence in his game, and then under a coach like Howe, you'll just get the best out of him. So quite interested to see if he features at all. Because looking at that bench overall, the back looks pretty solid. Obviously, we've got Hall, Botman, Chow on the bench, but then if we are in a position where we need someone to come on and change the game, that's the only concern for me. Bar Jacob Murphy, I can't really see any game changers. And Jacob Murphy is one where he'll either have an absolute stormer or he'll have a stinker. There's no
I really would like to
middle
see.
ground.
I'd like to see Miley come on, and because he's looked in the last year, especially, he's really come on. I think as a player, and we're going to have to rely on him a lot more than we did the last couple of seasons. I look at him as essentially the upgrade / replacement on Sean Longstaff.
Yeah,
and Jacob Ramsey coming in as, I don't want to go as far as say the replacement for Willock, but Willock's out of form and he's injured all the time. But like I look at Willock now as essentially a sixth choice, which is a decent game. It's a good sixth choice to have. And with Willock not having as much game time, you'd hopefully think that he'd be more ready to go. He's going to get injured less. But yeah, Jacob Ramsey is that like direct outlet. You know, like we saw like under Steve Bruce with Joe Willock when he just used to bomb forward and was that really direct player. Like I said in the preview, Jacob Ramsey kind of looks like a bit more of a prolific version of that. And it's a good plan B to have. Whereas Miley, he's that enforcer. He's looking tall, strong, athletic. He's got a good pass. He reads the game well. In the same way that Tenali does, where it's one touch, look up, bang, pass. Miley has that as well. I remember his assist. It might have even been on his debut for that Swedish lad. Yeah, it was for some Swedish lad.
Andreas Andersson.
Emil Kraft.
Yes, it might have been. It might be Andreas Andersson. You know, but the assist made the goal, obviously. Yeah, but it's that, and that's what we need from the likes of Miley to step up and do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him this season. I'm looking forward to seeing Jacob Ramsey. I think it's all confirmed now with him. But yeah, and again, Osula, he's been okay in pre-season. I'm still trying to work out.
Just reading that comment there.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Raza was due to be joining us, but he's up in a caravan somewhere up in Northumberland, I believe, and I think he's in an air.
He's got Wi-Fi worse than Dasmo,
and he's had his right now. It's just all gone wrong. So we didn't do a Matt Target and leave him behind.
We're thinking of you, Raza. You're here in
just
spirit.
One of those things. I was looking forward to his beautiful face and his
take on Isak was quite.
That was going to be box office, I believe. I mean, he'll probably put something in the comments now that we mention it, but yeah, I was with Raza down in at Wembley watching Oasis, and we had a right little ding dong catch up. It was very nice, very nice. So
how was Oasis for you then, mate? How was it?
It was absolutely epic, mate. I went
unreal, mate.
I don't think there would be many fans that did this. I know two others that did this, but at 3 p.m. I was down in Stratford watching ABBA Voyage.
Nice,
and
unreal.
At 7:30 I was watching Richard Ashcroft. Lead up to Oasis coming on.
What a day!
And
what an absolute day!
Say, for very different reasons, they were both absolutely unbelievable. So there you go. So those four are my favourite Swedes now. I've put all of the Swedes apart from Kraft and Andreas Andersson on the back burner for now. And
Alanga.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Alanga, of course he is.
Don't forget the new boy.
Yeah, you've got to. So yes, it was mint. So if you're ever in London, I will go and check it out. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. So I mean, looking at the two lineups, and like you said about the benches, it does increasingly look like. I mean, I think we've probably seen the pictures of number 41, Jacob Ramsey at the stadium. Just to kind of go a little bit aside from today's game. Blue Rhythm Boys bringing in Wissa, and the chances of him playing and getting signed ready for the Liverpool game. Just a short one on this one. Do we think, Joe, that it's going to, that Wissa's going to happen? It looks like the dominoes have kind of fallen in terms of Tara going to Brentford. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, because we're Brentford looking to get that lad from Bournemouth.
Yeah, Tara, is he called?
Yeah. And but then they're waiting for Bournemouth to get a replacement, but that looks like that's now happening. So it's all, it looks like Vissa's should be ready to sign by Liverpool, which, thinking about it, you know, we were worried not having a focal point for this game, but realistically, if you've got Visser up front with Gordon on the left and Alanga on the right, that's bloody scary.
Yeah.
Visser was, you know, he's a really good striker. Yeah, he's a Callum Wilson replacement, and he's not on the same level as that Swedish bloke. But at the same time, he's a really great striker. He scored, was it 17 goals last season?
Yeah,
I can't remember, but he scored a lot. He scored a lot between him and Mbeumo, and he's a number 9. He's got that instinct, and it's what we need. So even though he might not be on that same level, I think he's more than good enough to start the season for us and give us that focal point up front. And you know, once we get him through the door, the front options are looking canny.
Yeah.
You got Barnes, Gordon, Visser, Osula, Alanga, Murphy. I mean, that's 2 for every position. Not bad, is it?
Yeah.
You get Jacob Ramsey through the door, and you've got Miley, so that's 5 for, well, and Willock when he comes back, so that's 6 for 3 midfield positions. Left back, Hall is, I think we discussed on the preview that it clearly is a bit too early for him to start just now, but maybe in 1 or 2 games' time, gets himself back up to speed. So you've got Hall and Tino, and even Matt Target if you need to at left back.
Yeah.
Chow's come in. This, you know, when you think about it, actually, this summer it's been late, but it's actually looking pretty good. The Swede gate aside, it's looking pretty good. It's just taking its time. I know that ideally we would have had those signings in early doors to get them a good pre-season, but we've discussed this to death that I think we've been ambitious but naive in those initial transfer targets, and we've learned a lesson really quick, which is why I think now we're seeing a lot of these targets come through the door. That's a bit more realistic. These are the kind of targets that are good. They're good players, but they're not the stuff that, they're not the level that you'd be having the likes of Liverpool, City, Chelsea sniffing at the door and saying, no, we need him in as a starter. But it's good that we've recognised that and we're not letting Howe down, because I think if we had went into this season without, even with just 1 or 2, I think Howe would have probably been close to sort of kicking it at that point. I think he would have said, no, this is ridiculous. Not like quitting on the spot, but he might have said, this is going to be my last season if you don't book your ideas up. So, I think it's a renewed sense of optimism as well, given everything that's going on, that we're like, you know what, we're actually getting a bit of strength and depth, and it's something that we've cried out for since the last Champions League campaign. Yeah. You know, we literally had to field academy players because we just didn't have the strength and depth last time. So it's good to see.
Yeah, so Ian, just coming to Blue Rhythm Boys' point about Murphy and Ali, great use of the word Shan. Obviously, Murphy was one of the stars last season, and I don't think he's the type of player to, you know, hoist toys out of the pram, but is it a bit Shan on War Murphy to be dropped now for Alanga, although he is an upgrade?
It just depends on which way you want to look at it. Is Alanga an upgrade on Murphy? Yes. So by that logic, you would put your best players in your starting 11. Personally, I think Alanga is better than Murphy. I like Jacob Murphy. I think he had a really, really good season last season. But then what I've seen of him this pre-season kind of looks like he's, I wouldn't say back to the old Jacob Murphy that was like coming in from, it was at Norwich and flat to deceive, but he's still a really good option to have off the bench. But I just think Alanga's sort of that next step up. Like, I always think of it, if like we are a Champions League side, we're hunting for Champions League and European spots the last three seasons. Would you class Jacob Murphy as a starting winger for a top 6 club? Probably not. But like I say, he's a really good option to come off the bench. And I think he's probably of the mindset of, right, this is where I'm at in the predicament, but it's down to me to graft and then change Eddie Howe's mind. But that's not to say he'll be up starting on the bench every game. Obviously, there's a lot of games to play this season, so it wouldn't surprise us if there's a lot of sort of rotation in that area. But yeah, I think he's went with the right call and put Alanga.
Can I just say on Murphy as well, he's a player that thrives when the rest of the team are doing well. He's not a player that typically can take a game by the scruff of its neck and make something happen out of nothing. When the team played badly last season, he tended to go missing quite a lot. And that's not as much of a criticism of him, because he had 12 assists last season. Was it 12 or 13 goals, something daft as well? Like he was obviously really good. Him and Isak had that partnership, and oh god, I've said his name. Sorry, but them two had that partnership, right?
Pound in the swear jar, please, Joe.
I know, right in there. Go towards batteries for Ian's clock. Well, I think it's working now, actually. But yeah, no, Murphy was a player that thrived when the team were doing well, and I think looking at it now, yeah, he does. Yeah, that's right. Murphy does thrive with a certain strike hit. Most of Murphy's assists came from just beautifully connected crosses into the box, from that wide position. And currently, we don't have a centre forward who can provide that. So if you think about it tactically, it makes sense to have Elanga on there. Elanga's a lot more skillful. He's going to cut inside a bit more. He's going to be able to draw defenders along the byline. Murphy doesn't do that, really. So it makes total sense, even from a tactics point of view. But just, going back to what I said before, we've got a lot of games coming up. Murphy's going to get a load of game time. He's going to play in the Cups. He's going to play in the Champions League. He's fine. He needs competition as well.
Are we going to have to be, Ian, a little bit maybe... I'm going to use the word patient, but with this new front three at the minute, we don't have, it doesn't look like, obviously Wissa's probably going to come in, maybe doesn't start against Liverpool, but in games like today, maybe the Liverpool game, maybe it's even Leeds, are we going to have to be quite patient maybe with Elanga, Gordon, Barnes in terms of end product? Because, if we'd had a recognised striker who'd been at the club for a long time and signed a long-term deal that was going to see him there for 6 years, and he decided he was going to stay, hypothetically, the players around him will be used to playing. They know the runs. They know, like Murphy's connection with Andreas Anderson, they knew kind of where that person was going to be. Are we going to have to just exercise just that little bit of patience with, particularly Elanga, because he's brand new into the squad completely, but, because they're going to make runs and knock balls in, and somebody's not going to be there because they haven't necessarily built up those relationships with each other. Do you think we're going to need patience, Ian?
100%. And like we're a very patient and unreactive fan base. So, but I think it was highlighted a few times in pre-season, both when you had Elanga starting and Murphy. So Murphy, like Joe said, he's not the player to cut in on his left foot. He's a player to drive on the outside. And for what it's worth, he's a fairly good crosser of the ball. There was a few times when he was putting really good balls in, but you had maybe Zasula up front or one of the young lads or even Gordon that didn't know where he was putting the ball. Whereas previously you had a striker who he had that connection with where he knew where the ball was going. Similarly with Elanga, he's come in, looks like he's got bags of skill and speed, beating his man and then cutting it back in because we've got no instinctual striker. So Gordon, like I say, he's all right at sort of filling that void, but I think he hasn't got that knowledge of where a real number 9 of where he should be. So sort of cutting in at the front post or hanging back to the penalty spot if the ball's getting cut back. So I think patience will be needed 100%. I feel a little bit sorry for Elanga. Obviously, he's been brought in to be the upgrade on Jacob Murphy to then get the best out of his countrymen, and his countrymen's just decided to down tools. But
to be a countryman.
To be a massive countryman. But yeah, I think patience is needed. What I wouldn't say worries us, but what to bear in mind as well. So before all of this palaver with said countrymen, I thought it was quite a difficult start. Villa away is always a hard game. Then Liverpool at home. We never really do well at Leeds. I think Bournemouth away is in there. We never really do well there. So even if we had a full strength squad, I'd be thinking these are quite tough games. And without that focal point in attack, you're going to try and have to sort of be realistic and and hope the performances are there.
Yeah.
Hopefully get a few odd results, but bear in mind that these are tricky games, and we're doing it without a number 9, or 14 in this case.
Speaking of a number 9, I think for me, although I don't fully agree with what 841 Productions is saying, that's an interesting christening evening. So I would have played Asula up top. I always just like to have a front man. I don't know why. I like a player playing in that right position. And I think this could have been an opportunity to say to Asula, look, you've got 5 games. You're going to start every single game. Like, I'm not going to drop you. Like, and really just give him the opportunity. Like he showed in glimpses last year that he's got something. He's absolutely nowhere near the finished product yet, but
yeah,
I just feel like
with you.
I've never enjoyed square pegs and round holes, and I mean, it might benefit us, like we talked about earlier today, about having that speed and that the dynamic front three on the counter attack. I think that could benefit us, but for me, I would have said, as soon as this sort of stuff erupted with what's his chops, I would have said to Asula, look, you're the man. You're in. You've got 5 games. Yes, we'll be signing other players, but if you hit the ground running, which as your support, anybody else was saying is going to have to dislodge you. You're the man. And like, I think showing that bit of faith in him, he doesn't look like he lacks confidence, to be fair, but I think that really would have given him a professional boost to say like, right, okay. And I think I suppose he's not missed a trick because he's not really put a foot wrong in this whole debacle. He could have really give Asula the big up and try and give him that confidence. But I know a lot of people, maybe don't rate him and think he's probably not capable, but you don't know, I guess, until you put these players in, Joe. I know, I think you like a target, you like to play players in the correct position. So do you think that it's maybe a missed opportunity for Asula? Oh, is Joe frozen? I think you might have done. Ian, are you still there?
I'm still there, yeah.
I was just looking at Joe, just looking longly into the distance there.
Yeah, it looks like he's really pondering on his answer, doesn't it? With Asula, so he has attributes. He's big, he's quick. I think there was a comment, I can't see it in the comments, but I think he's probably been given the chance pre-season. I didn't see much of him that would warrant starting. I know obviously he's an out-and-out attacker. Gordon's not, but I still would I would prefer Gordon there. I just think he's a better player, even though that's not his position. But like you say, we don't see what goes on in training. We don't see what goes on sort of behind the scenes. So it's a difficult call to make without seeing players every day. From what I've seen personally, I don't think Asula would have been up to it. But say, for example, you need a little bit of a presence up front. He's got pace to come off the bench and maybe give defenders something different to think about. But for now, I just don't see him being the first choice. Yeah,
I think it seems like Joe, blink if you're being held hostage. We don't have the greatest look on here. I think it might be me. It's particularly me where people have these breakdowns of their technology. So what can I say? Now let's just very, very quickly just go back to that the Villa lineup. I just want to have a look at in that lineup, obviously we've chatted a little bit about Watkins. Now, for me, Watkins, like, I feel like because Villa are in a very similar situation to us with PSR, like, is Watkins going to be a little bit pissed off? And could that be a good thing for them or a bad thing for them? I don't know, but it seems like he's been one of those players who they've identified who they could let go, and he's been loosely linked with us by many of these ITKs that we've we've encountered. But is there any other players there that you think could cause us problems that we need to be mindful of? I mean, I don't even know who the keeper is anymore. I'm not sure who that guy is, but
I think they may have signed. I don't know if they signed him this summer or just previously, but obviously Martinez is suspended, which again is a big benefit. I don't know much about this. Is it Bizot or Bizot? I don't know much about him, but knowing how good Emi Martinez is, it's only a benefit that he's not starting.
Yeah.
Morgan Rogers as well. I thought he was absolutely fantastic last
He's
season.
incredible.
Really, really good young talent. So I think he links up very well with Watkins. So he's definitely to watch out for. And I think the midfield battle as well. So obviously McGinn, Onana, Tielemans and Kamara. I think that'll be a very interesting battle with our midfield three. For all, I think obviously McGinn was another name that was sort of linked with us. And I think he kind of goes under the radar. He's not like a household name or a glamorous name, but he's really good at what he does. So yeah. I think it's going to be a really, really close game. I think there'll be spells where we'll cancel each other out. But I think their forward line, as much as I'm quite happy with Barnes, Gordon, Elanga individually in their own right, I think because they haven't played with each other that much, they don't know the patterns of play.
Yeah.
I think Villa's forward line gives me a little bit more concern than what our forward line will concern them.
Yeah. And I think because, like you say, they're established, they know their rules and so on. Thinking of just speaking of knowing their rules and kind of just going off slightly from today's game at Villa Park. I did put this up before, but Ricardo there. Oh, he's back. Let me just get this on.
An absolute wobbler. I don't know what happened.
The Scousers have hijacked his Wi-Fi because he mentioned Isaac too much.
Probably. We're just going to have a quick word for Longstaff. He's obviously transferred to Leeds during the transfer window. I wouldn't go so far as to say he was a Marmite player. I think people did have strong opinions on him, but I think nobody necessarily hated him. I always liked Longstaff. I thought he was, obviously, aside from coming through the club, I thought he was a really solid player for us. A lot worse players have probably played a lot more games than Sean Longstaff has. So Joe, will he be a miss just kind of within the squad, do you think? Obviously, we don't know the complete dynamics, but you get the sense that he was a bit of a central figure in that squad.
Yeah, of course, man. He's a local lad. He's been there a long time, since the academy. Players have come and gone, only knowing a Sean Longstaff, Newcastle United. He's of course he's going to be missed.
When you put it, that's a bit frightening.
Hey, he's done well for us, man. He's done well for us. But yeah, he's going to be missed. Yeah, he wasn't starting many games and all that. But the lads have always talked about this leadership group, the ones who've there in the dressing room, there to say the right things, to big everyone up. So of course he's going to be missed. But as a football club, you need to be moving on. It was the right time. I couldn't see him fronting up another Champions League campaign for us. It wouldn't have worked. And for his own career as well, a move to Leeds is a really good one for him. So yeah, he will be missed, but it's one of those where there's only so much room for sentimentality in football. Yeah,
I was a bit, I don't know. Well, I suppose it was in our group as well, and there was a few small rumours about John McGinn, us approaching John McGinn, where
be a good signing.
I don't know,
depends how much, but when they were talking like 18 million, I was like, whoa, steady on there, Bonnie lad.
He's 30.
Yeah, he's 30. Aye, so that was a bit of a weird one for me, but that would be John McGinn would be an Eddie Howe standard signing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like he loves a Premier League experienced player. Like that is, I think if Eddie Howe had his way completely, we would just be full of just players who'd played in the Premier League previously and done canny well. But what do I know about recruitment is my question now. But yeah, so
you'll fit right in.
I know. What's going on? what's going on.
We're doing okay.
Right,
now.
boys. So I know, Joe, you've already given us your prediction. Was it 2-0 defeat?
2-0 loss. I'm going to stick with it. Sticking me guns.
You don't want to revise it at all? You don't want to make any changes?
No. That would do a
Good
disservice to the preview. Sticking to me guns, but I'm hoping I'm wrong, obviously.
Good lad. Ian, what do you reckon?
Well, start of the week, I would have said 3-0 Villa. I'm a little bit more positive. I think we'll put in a good performance, but similar to Joe, I cannot see past our lack of goal threat. And again, that was throughout pre-season. There was spells of play where we looked really, really good, but then one missing that clinicalness at the end of the moves. Obviously, we scored some goals, but given how new that front three is playing together, it's pretty much the same group that Villa had last season. We always struggle down there. I think we will struggle for goals. I'm going a little bit more positive than Joe, but I think it will be 2-1 Villa, unfortunately. But I would snap your hands off for a point.
I'm not a miserable sod. I actually think we're going to win. I think we're going to catch them on the counter. I think they're going to be all, I don't know about this keeper. I think it would be handy if we did have like a big lad getting into this keeper on the first couple of corners and seeing, this test his metal a little bit. But I feel like we're going to score first on the counter. They'll come back. I'm going to go 3-1 with a goal right at the very end. Right at the very end.
In a heartbeat.
I would like to see young Siu Sung Park come on. I think that will be absolutely epic. I want to see some of that chopping that he likes to do, like from the games that I've seen and like the way that he plays. Like he just loves to like go one way and then just like whoop, chop on the other side. And like, I think, why not? Why the not?
Can I go back to what I was going to say before the Scousers hijacked me Wi-Fi about Asula? Just what you were saying about giving him a run of games. I think I personally would really like to see that. I think he's a good talent. I like what I've seen of him. He's big, he's athletic, but he's also got a lot of skill about him, and he's not afraid to get in amongst it. I think his decision making just needs to be a bit better, but you can only really do that with a run of games. So I totally understand what you're saying about giving us all the run of games. But back what Productions was saying before about dropping Barnes, I totally understand what he means by putting Alanga on the left and Murphy on the right, because that's pace galore. But realistically, without that Swedish bloke, Barnes is one of our most prolific strikers of the ball.
Yeah.
And we can't really do without that at the moment. I appreciate a lot of Barnes's contributions came as being a sub, but when he got that run of games after Gordon got suspended and then injured, he actually did really well. So I can see it, but right now we just can't sacrifice someone like of Barnes's ability on the ball.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is we've got these options off the bench. It's been too long that we've said there's maybe one player who can make a difference. And it's not great at the minute, but at the same time, it's better than nothing. And once Ramsey and Visser come through the door, that's two more attacking options off the bench. If he, who shall not be named, does come back into the squad, again, all of a sudden, you're not just your starting 11, but the 3 or 4 or 5 after that are looking pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's, I think there's reason to be optimistic for the season. I really do. Like, we've got a lot going forward. Yes, the forces are against us at the minute, but I think we just need that Jose Mourinho mentality of like, it's just a siege and like we're getting battered. Although I have like a lot of the support we have seen across like different platforms. Not many people have come out apart from Liverpool fans to kind of defend Isak. Free Isak and all that carry on, which I think is absolutely.
What did you think of the carry on last night before the match? They were talking about Isak as if he was one of their players already coming in.
Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks maybe people know something and they think that something's get done.
I know it's a Sky narrative. I know it's just what they're going to do.
They're just pissing into the wind and seeing what happens. But, we'll see.
they
Hopefully
gotta
Liverpool
fill
end up with
somehow.
piss all over their legs and we end up with a striker who's reintegrated into the team and has his best season for us. Like, I think Harry Kane did that when he chucked his toys at the pram at Tottenham. I think Suarez, I think, did that to Liverpool. He was going to go. Although,
Kabay for us, he went on strike because he wanted to go to Arsenal, and then he ended up playing class for us after he came back.
And
I think as well with all these people that are, I'm of the opinion that he's been an absolute rat. I think he's had people in his ear.
Oh, aye.
Trying to, and I think he's doubled down to try and force a move. That being said, football fans are the most fickle of people in the world. So if he comes back, scores a couple of goals, we'll forgive him. We'll probably forgive him. I think the way he's handled himself has been, and because I think it was me, Chris, and it might have been you or someone else did a podcast on the whole thing, and at the start of this whole thing, I kind of understood where he was coming from in terms of knowing his value, knowing his worth, but the way he's conducted himself, it's been absolutely shocking.
It's
that
been
being
disrespectful,
said,
hasn't it?
Yeah. If he come back and netted a few goals, I'm of course going to celebrate them, but I think he needs to have a bit of tough love and earn his right to be in the squad again.
Yeah.
Can you clap and boo at the same time?
Yeah.
Especially if you're licking your hands.
Yeah. It'd be licking your hands. I saw a comment before from Scott about shitting in his hands and clap. Hopefully he does that after. He just the licking of the hands before the shitting in the hands.
Yeah.
You don't end up with shit in your mouth. That would just be awful. Not again, anyway. So, lads, we'll bring it to a close because we are about 7 minutes from kickoff. Thank you so much to you two for joining us. Apologies again, Raza. I was really looking forward to seeing him, but I'm sure we'll have another pre-match live, probably for the Liverpool game. We'll all have our hackles up and we'll begin Raj, so that'll be good. Thank you very much for all those people who've joined us and commented. We've got Productions, we've got Scott, we've got L. Stapleton, we've got Gary V, we had Blue Rhythm Boy earlier on. Obviously, I think Chris has been on the Gallagher Shots account, so he's been
our very own Andy as well.
The old comment. Thank you to Steve C. Thank you to Ricardo. Thank you very much for all those people for joining us. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, tell your neighbour's cat about Gallagher Shots. And let's see if we can grow even further from where we are at this point. You can subscribe. I believe it's £2.99. And you get extra content. You get early release of things, which is all good as well. So, boys, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm now looking forward to this game. I'm in my basement in Canada at the minute. So I'm just about to stick on the old big screen.
Oh, look at that.
Get the projector on. And
I've changed my mind. We're going to win 2-0.
There we go. What a point to end on. So, yeah, down here it's 7:25. So I've just come to life now. So thank you very much for joining us. There'll be another preview show coming for the Liverpool game, and I'm sure there'll probably be stuff like Between the Lines, and obviously the Gallagher Shots podcast will be live probably after, maybe it's the Monday after this game. And yeah, let's get amongst it, lads, and let's have a really good season. Thanks again, and enjoy the game. See you later.
And don't forget to
like, subscribe.
The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.